Hello, you cute little sardines. I'll, I'm I'm back. I'm gonna be your egg for this evening or morning, whenever you be watching. Today's a little different. We're not gonna be doing any more Turning Red reviews. As much as I did want to dedicate the channel to purely Turning Red reviews, I just can't do that. I feel like it would get a little bit stale, like at some point. So I'm gonna instead divert what I'm doing and talk about a 1960s PSA. Okay, basically what we want to start off with is the name of our guy, the filmmaker himself, the guy behind it all, Sid Davis. Sid Davis is he's a decent bloke, I'd say. You know, I can't think of any reason why you'd probably dislike him. Basically, Sid Davis made a PSA, or as some people call them, social guidance films, and he made a specific social guidance film educating kids about the dangers of trusting strangers. In fact, that was mainly what he did. A lot of his work was that. From what I've read and researched, a lot of his if his story has the same moral, you've basically watched them all. Like, if you've watched this PSA, any PSA about trusting strangers you've watched, the only thing that makes this one special is the juicy homophobia. Well, I guess you can't really call it homophobia. No one kind of acts like a gay person. I mean, unless you count people like the guys that nonce on boys, gay. I just call them nonces personally. I don't discriminate, you know. Dude, I'm just saying, look, nonces. If you want to fuck a boy or a girl, I don't give a shit, dog. All right, you're a nonce to me either way, dude. You know, equal rights and all that. You know what I'm saying? No discrimination. I'm digging myself a fucking hole. What am I doing? All right, let's start from the beginning. All right, Sid Davis. Sid Davis was born on April the 1st, 1916. There's probably a joke you can make in there somewhere. I'm not gonna make it. What am I? Someone who's trying to entertain people? Who's probably watching right now? He was born in Chicago with his father, who was a house painter, and his mother, who was a seamstress. By the way, in case you didn't know, seamstresses are people who made profit off of sewing. I had to look that up. When Davis was 4 years old, his family moved to Hollywood in 1920. It was there he worked as a child actor for some comedy made by a Harold Lloyd. He's not important, by the way, don't worry. He would continue acting in movies and even dropped out of junior high school to help support his parents. Pretty redeemable. His story as a filmmaker, though, doesn't begin until 1949, when he was around 33 years old. Just a heads up to anyone watching, the next part I'm going to talk about is an actual thing that happened to a small girl, and if you don't want your day to be ruined, or you don't want to hear any of that, then you can skip ahead. But if you like to hear the story, then continue. A young girl by the name of Joyce Glukoff was molested and murdered by Fred Strobel when she was only 6 years old. This tragedy would go on to fuel Davis's first ever film. Davis was particularly troubled by the killing because his own 6-year-old daughter didn't seem to heed his advice when it came to strangers. So he decided to make a film educating kids about the dangers of trusting random people. Okay, I could see where he's coming from, you know. Sometimes telling kids isn't enough, you gotta show them. But I'm not a psychologist, I don't know if any of that shit works. Sure, educating kids, I get that. But if he can't convince his own daughter to stay away from strangers, then why are we trusting him to educate ours? Or yours, I should say. I don't have kids. I got the bad sperm. To get funding for his film, he went to a man named John Wayne. Davis knew John Wayne because he worked as a stand-in for him. And apparently John didn't need much convincing when asked for funding. Pretty Chad move, to be fair. Wayne then gave Davis $1,000 and made his first film, The Dangerous Stranger. he apparently remade this film at least twice. The film tells us a story of several young children. Some are saved, and some are just doomed to... They don't really say much, other than he went missing, or she went missing. That's usually the only variation to it. Unsurprisingly enough, however, his films were actually a success amongst schools, and even some police departments, apparently. He would go on to sell a few of his copies, and I say a few because he apparently made $240,000 back from sales, so that's pretty decent. And this money would go on to later fund his later movies for the next 30 years. This motherfucker knew what he was doing. He may or may not have been homophobic, but I mean, credit where credit's due. I think he made around 83 films in 30 years, but I'm not sure how true that is. It could have been more, it could have been less. And all these films were on a small budget of $1,000 per film. That's not bad, even for the time period. He would even gain the title King of Calamity for the nature of his work. In one of these films, Live and Learn, there's a scene where a girl is making paper dolls with scissors, then her father walks into the room and she gets up to greet him, but as she's getting up, she takes a tumble on the scissors, impaling her, and she dies.
She jumped to her feet. This time it was different. She tripped and fell on the scissors.
It doesn't end there. People also fell off cliffs, run down by cars, even blinded by broken glass flying through the air.
He's a good shot, but look what happened.
The fuck? Now we get to the juicy center of it all. The fucking nice, you guys know the British peeps will know what I'm talking about. Now you dirty, smelly, fucking skanky Americans aren't gonna know anything about what I'm talking about. But us British have gum, okay? This gum has juice in it when you bite into it, and it was good.
What the fuck are you talking about? Huh? To pick up the government check?
Hey, Seth Rogen here, and dude, weed Lamau.
As I said before, Boys Beware was produced in 1961. Davis produced the film with the Inglewood, California Police Department and the Inglewood Unified School District, which, a thing I want to add, most social guidance film creators usually use people who have PhDs in the field that's relevant to the topic they're discussing in their films. Davis didn't. He would often just use the advice given to him by the police department. Now, obviously, like most of his films, it warned kids, specifically boys, about trusting strangers, because they're strangers. You don't know who you're talking to, kid. Could be Barney, fucking Clifford the Big Red Dog, fucking Bill Burr, could be Filthy Frank, what the fuck. But unfortunately it just throws homosexuals and child predators together and doesn't bother clarifying that the two are different things. Heck, child predator is never even said in this film. At no point is child predator, child molester, pedophile, kitty fiddler, none of that. They don't ever say any of that shit. Only the word homosexual is used. Now, I think we can finally get into this actual film. Yeah, I'm actually gonna go by it scene by scene, almost, to the best of my abilities, anyway. This will be my first time doing this. It's my first time doing anything on this channel, for the most part, so hopefully it all goes well. Yay! We open up with the title and this card. Produced with the cooperation of the Inglewood Police Department and the Inglewood Unified School District. Now, as previously said, he would often use police departments and school kids for his films, instead of using actors, presumably because maybe it was cheaper, I guess. We see a guy walk into his car. this is Lieutenant Williams, our narrator. He kind of only exists to be that purpose. I'm not even sure why he's even in this film to begin with. He's not really important. He's just the narrator. Why isn't he just a narrator? Like, he both opens and ends the film. Like, wouldn't it have been cheaper to not have to worry about that? I mean, I thought that's what this guy was all about. You think you know a guy.
I'm Lieutenant Williams, a police officer attached to the Juvenile Division. I'm on my way to Monroe Junior High School to talk to a group of young people.
Lieutenant Williams is a part of the Juvenile Division and works with kids, just talking to them and educating them about, whatever they educate kids about. I don't fucking know. Lieutenant Williams apparently doesn't even seem to know himself.
Junior High School to talk to a group of young people.
Yes, not educating. Talking. Talking about fucking what? After passing some kids hitchhiking, we guide our attention to a young boy. A strapping young lad. A Jimmy of sorts. No, seriously, his name's Jimmy. Like, seriously, I unironically, like, thought of the name Jimmy in my head the second I saw this kid. I mean, this whole thing just reeks of the 60s. But this ain't no ordinary Jimmy. This Jimmy Barnes.
Let's take the case of Jimmy Barnes. Jimmy played baseball all afternoon, and he didn't feel like walking home, so he decided to thumb a ride.
He just wanted to thumb a ride. He doesn't want to walk home. Bullshit! And to be fair, I agree with the sentiment of that. Who wants to walk home, bro? Dude. Cringe. Did kids actually do this? Did kids actually just hitchhike? I mean, like, I've obviously seen that thing in films where kids hitchhike on buses, but do they really go and ask for it from strangers? I mean, I guess it's more in suburban areas, I guess, where bus routes aren't as common. I don't know. I'm a fucking idiot. And so are these little idiots for getting into strangers' cars! Look, motherfuckers, Jimmy Barnes is a veteran in this field. He a fucking pro. Jimmy Barnes knows what he's doing. He knows how to handle himself in these situations, okay? It's natural for the person to strike up a conversation with you. You're in their car. The least you can do is talk to the fucking weirdo. Okay, so after talking, the homosexual asks the kid about how often he plays baseball, and the kid just gives him his full fucking schedule. Like, what the fuck? Are you that stupid?
Didn't think anything was unusual when the driver struck up a friendly conversation. In fact, he seemed like a real nice guy. He asked Jimmy if he played baseball in the park often. Jimmy told him they practiced 3 times a week and played a rival group on Friday afternoon.
Like, look, I get it, kids are dumb, but are kids really this fucking dumb, even for, like, 60s standards? Are they really that fucking dumb where they didn't think, maybe I shouldn't tell this stranger about my routine? Like, Jesus Christ. By the way, the narrator makes sure to let us know that Ralph is a good listener. Ralph gives Jimmy a pat on the back.
When Jimmy got out, the stranger gave him a friendly pat.
Because he's just such a
Bright boy.
What the fuck? What the shit? Did the predator stereotype exist even in the 60s? Holy shit, dude. God damn. Some things just don't change. Wait, look at his face. You tell me that is not the same stereotype you see nowadays for predators. This motherfucker's been on To Catch a Predator, you know it.
When he thought was a young teenage
boy.
It would be comical.
What's going on?
Just meeting them. I've met about a dozen of them online.
Did you ever get in trouble for it?
Well, I got in trouble because I met a girl in Michigan.
Okay, so basically after giving the guy his full schedule, home address, a hand job, we then transition to a next scene where he's just chucking what I thought was a deflated ball, like, up in the air. It's just a baseball glove, in case you were as stupid as I am. Hey, Timmy, I got Happy Meals in here, boy. You got a Happy Meal. Yeah, mate, I'm footing baseball, innit? So after getting some nice, hot, juicy fish, shrimp, and chicken.
They stopped at a drive-in and the stranger treated him to a Coke.
Honestly, if you didn't grow up eating fish, shrimp, and chicken, you didn't have a childhood.
During their conversation, he told several off-color jokes. But Jimmy had heard others before, and...
Well, I mean, what's wrong with off-color jokes? I thought for the 1960s that was a good thing.
But Jimmy had heard others before, and, well, it made him feel big to so easily win the confidence of an older person.
It made Jimmy very big to be complimented by an older man who was balding and had a much worse receding hairline than a fucking egg. Well, what? Are they allowed to just fish there? That seems illegal. I mean, I suppose it is a bit of a secluded area. I mean, you know, if I was a nonce, I'd take a kid to a secluded area too. I wouldn't want it to be out in the open. I mean, you know, might as well do some illegal activities while you're at it, am I right?
No.
The following Saturday, they went fishing together. By now, they were using first names. Ralph said it was more friendly.
I feel like talking to someone using first names is the last of your worries when your child is literally meeting up with a fucking nonce. Nonce sandwich. Dude, why is he just sucking on that sandwich, dude? He kinda...
Jimmy hadn't enjoyed himself so much in a long time. Then during lunch, Ralph showed him some pornographic pictures. Jimmy knew he shouldn't be interested, but, well, he was curious. What Jimmy didn't know was that Ralph was sick, a sickness that was not visible like smallpox, but no less dangerous and contagious, a sickness of the mind. You see, Ralph was a
Total furry.
So, Ralph gives Jimmy pornographic pictures. What kind of pornographic pictures are we talking about? Is this gay?
but, well, he was curious. What Jimmy didn't know was that Ralph was sick, a sickness of the mind. You see, Ralph was a homosexual, a person who demands an intimate relationship with members of their own sex.
That's where it all just goes downhill, when they use the word homosexual instead of child predator. Even if you assume that they just mixed up the words and meanings, because it's the 1960s, you know, people weren't exactly that well educated, then maybe they did genuinely fucking think that it was the same fucking thing. Okay. It's not. We see Jimmy and Ralph enjoying each other's time. They walk through the woods, play golf. Of the mini variety.
Hole in one!
And there you have it. The point where it gets kinda bad.
He bought presents and even gave him money, but payments were expected in return.
Ralph even gives him money and gifts. Pucker up, Buttercup.
Nothing's free, boy.
You see, Jimmy hadn't recognized Ralph's approach soon enough. When Ralph first asked Jimmy to go fishing alone, he should have discussed it with his parents or teacher.
Look, like, at least you could argue that, like, at least, trying to push a good message. Like, I feel like kids already know this. I mean, I personally never would have gotten into a stranger's fucking car, no matter what age I was. Well, I mean, okay, maybe if I was, like, very, very, very young. But I don't remember anyone showing me these kinds of things when I was really, really young, like, when it mattered. Like, they started showing me that shit when I was already at an age where I kind of knew that shit. I mean, there are some that warn kids about how some use the tactics of knowing your parents, which at least that's, like, educational. That's at least educating kids about a tactic that they do use. I mean, I've never been greeted by one, so I can't say personally.
Finally, Jimmy told his parents, and they reported it to the juvenile authorities. Ralph was arrested, and Jimmy was released on probation in the custody of his parents.
What? Jimmy was released on probation? Why was Jimmy released on probation? He got fucking molested. He got dump trucked. Why is he? What the fuck?
You naughty boy.
I don't know if this was like a normal thing at the time. I don't know if if child was like molested by a man, if they literally just thought he was a fucking predator too. This PSA talks about it as like it's being contagious, and although it is the 1960s, I don't think that was a common thought back then. I'm pretty sure the main reason people feared it was because it could be anyone. It didn't matter if you, I mean, you know, I don't know. What the fuck do I know? Can I get justice for my man Jimmy? Jimmy did nothing wrong. Hashtag justice for Jimmy. Oh, good lord. We're only halfway through? What the fuck? No way. That's whack, dude.